It's glad to have you join us today, but most importantly, letting us right into your day. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwepike. We'll be starting today with our newspaper headlines to see all that we have and, of course, peruse through them. And right after that will be in conversation also for today, but please do well to be part of what we do. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. We're very honored to have right here in our studios Emeka Madunagu, journalist, public affairs analyst. Good morning to you, Emeka.
Yeah, hello. Good morning.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right, so let's start off today with interesting stories coming from our newspapers, and the first on the list is the Daily Trust newspaper, and we have the big story here. But just before I get to the big story, which I feel is our talking point, let's take a look at other stories that made headlines. 165 illegal immigrants arrested in KB, and also we have northern states to experience delayed rainfall, and that's coming from Kayamo. We equally have gunmen abduct 10 passengers in Ondo State. But our talking point for today is on the Sani Elrufai differ over Tinubu. Emeka Madunagu, I read the story yesterday, I guess, when Elrufai was talking to the fact that Sani is more concerned about what comes from the master's table rather than fixing the problem in Kaduna State. Do you think Elrufai has the legitimacy of saying that, knowing that he just passed on the baton to Sani a couple of months back?
Yeah, Elrufai, thank you. Elrufai is actually his own problem.
Explain, please.
Elrufai needs to know how to control his emotions. He needs to know how to work with people, and allow people to think independently. Then he has a problem with his complex. And look at the way he talks about people, the way he talks down on people. And then he's not someone he's not a charismatic politician.
When you mean charismatic, what explain?
A charismatic politician actually thinks about the interests of the people. He's not selfish to the extent that the people can go to blazes as long as his own is moving well. Under him, insecurity raged in Kaduna. He was settling those terrorists. Insecurity raged in Kaduna, but since Sani came in, sanity has been restored in Kaduna. Now it is easy for the security architecture to track, and interdict those terrorists. Well, maybe you might say because the chief of army staff is from southern Kaduna, which has been their favorite attack spot. But beyond that, you need to look at the idea that how did Elrufai behave as a governor? He behaved more like an overlord, deposing chiefs. He was the one that actually brought in this same faith ticket, Muslim ticket, the Kaduna.
Kaduna. He actually used that as an experiment.
Yes, and then it is said that he was the one who proposed it to Tinubu in 2021. That if Tinubu wouldn't mind, they would support him if he could push Muslim ticket. For what? For what? Ask Elrufai. For what purposes? How does it benefit you? How? It's not possible to Islamize this country. It is not possible. No matter how you try, it is not possible. This country will just blow up in pieces. Is that what you want? You call yourself an accidental public servant, but you are causing accidents by your style of politicking. He claimed that he was not interested in ministerial position, but he presented himself for screening. He said he left a position of FCT minister after many years. Then why not put your own person? Why were you the one turning up? I think politicians should have personal, they should think about their personal, respect, self-respect.
Is it fair to say that Elrufai is a religious fanatic?
I don't think so. I just think he loves to play to the gallery.
Playing to the gallery to what end exactly?
For politics. Elrufai thinks he can continue to play the politics of the era of Ahmadu Bello and all that. Nigeria has gone beyond that. those ethnic nationalities in the north, I don't want to call them minorities, because actually the use of the word minority for an ethnic nationality is being contested right now, being hotly contested. Why would you call them minorities? Is it because of their size? No. What makes the others majority and what makes the others minorities? Now, I digress. Now, playing politics with the lives of the people will not advance your own career in any way. Because Elrufai is not someone who keeps long-lasting friendships. Go and check. The people, look at Atiku Abubakar. He fell out with him. Look at different people, even Ubasani. Ubasani, he has even fallen out with Ubasani. Meanwhile, he was the one who, he said he engineered the exit of Shehu Sani and the Hunkuyi and the other senator so that his own people, like Ubasani, will come in. Now, what has he achieved? What has he achieved? The very people, the Ubasani and co, who actually helped his loan request to sail through the National Assembly, are the ones who have turned around now and now investigating Elrufai through the House of Assembly over that loan. What does that tell you? It tells you that Elrufai should take note of one thing. And that is one thing many politicians, Nigerian politicians, are missing. The fact that President Bola Tinubu has been able to keep a hold on Lagos doesn't mean you can do it elsewhere. The politics of Lagos is peculiar in the sense that the indigenous politicians have not really strengthened themselves, reason to that extent. Funsho Williams would have made a difference if not that he was killed. He would have actually stood up to Tinubu. He was one politician who was really courageous. One indigenous politician who would have stood up to Tinubu very squarely. But, you see Wike trying to do it in Rivers. It can't work. See others try to do it elsewhere. Look at Oshomole in Edo State. Very soon, himself and Okpebolo will fall out.
Very true. But is it possible for us to maybe in a bit forget about the messenger and concentrate on the message? And the message from Elrufai to Ubasani is that he is becoming too emotionally hypnotized by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu because of the grants that come and how that Ubasani is falling wholeheartedly to the desires and the wishes of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Is he better? Is he better? Southern Kaduna University, the bill was prepared under Buhari. Elrufai told Buhari not to sign it. There are a number of things you can name. You can name. That Elrufai, actually his coziness with Buhari. He was very close to Buhari. Yes, you expect that a governor who is close to a president, will use that relationship to attract democracy dividends to his state. There's nothing wrong with that. So when he's talking about that, so what do you want? Do you want Ubasani to be at loggerheads with Tinubu? And they are of the same party. You want him to be at loggerheads with Tinubu to achieve what exactly? His state is seriously challenged in terms of security. His state has issues. His state is having issues, in terms of IGR. They need to improve IGR. They have out-of-school children. They need to deal with that. They are having, issues of climate change, environmental problems. They need to deal with that. And you see, there are certain things that the federal government, it's only the federal government, with the way Nigeria is currently constituted, it's only the federal government that can actually make a change.
And interestingly, the son of Elrufai is equally building himself politically to possibly take over. Who knows? Maybe the desire would be one day that the son, the one that's representing his constituency in the federal house.
Look, with the way they talk on social media, who is going to work with them? You see, let me tell you something. Let's see by 2027, let him run for re-election. Let him run for a second term. That is when we will know how popular he is. You see, it's not about, one thing is this. Your attitude to people, your public persona matters a lot. You don't go insulting people on social media, saying outrageous things on social media to people. and you expect that all will be well, they will support your political career. They will say, no problem, yeah, don't worry. Come, by the time, you will need to go back to those same people.
Very true.
That you've been calling them, those people you and your father have been talking down on. You will need to go back to them. And then they will now tell you what they think about all you've been doing. All I'll just advise Elrufai is tone down. Learn to work with people. And then it is not, when things don't work out for you, you now want to corral all of us into supporting. I can't support him. I can't support him. I know that Tinubu has his own deficiencies. Yes, Tinubu has his own deficiencies. But at least I can tell, Tinubu's trajectory. I know one of his problems is ethnic bigotry. One of Tinubu's problems is ethnic bigotry. It's the same thing with Elrufai. But I know, in terms of religion, Tinubu is not a religious bigot. But Elrufai, he's a died in the... So, I mean, which one are we going to take now? Which one are we going to take?
Very true. All right, let's see how that goes, though. It's a developing story. And we hope that more, of course, of that we will let you know. But let's get to Vanguard newspaper for the morning. And we have on the top strip here, federal government to roll out 7 million smart meters in 2025. I do not know how this would work, especially since the federal government is still paying for subsidy in electricity. And now I do not know if this is coming from the investors, really, or is it still coming from the federal government entirely. But let's look at other issues here. Lagos Assembly crisis, bid to oust Obasa's successor hits brick wall. Gag briefs Tinubu. I never say Tinubu, Akume, Kalu were corrupt when I was EFCC chairman. That's coming from Ribadu, who of course is still serving with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We have series of stories here, Emeka. If it's possible, I would love us to get through one after another. Let's get to Lagos. We talked about it just before we went for the Vanguard newspaper. Lagos Assembly crisis, bid to oust Obasa's successor hit brick wall. So there is something going on in the Lagos
from what I heard as at this morning is that between now and the end of the week, that there are moves to bring Obasa back.
So it is true.
Miranda is from Lagos Central. Yes, Miranda is from Lagos Central as the governor. And in terms of Nigeria's political configuration, it cannot work. The governor and the Speaker of the House of Assembly cannot come from the same senatorial district.
But surely it's an emergency.
So emergency, emergency is just for a brief period. Emergency is not substantive. She is just there as a stopgap while they look for somebody. I learned that the agreement is that, okay, she will step down while they look for that the Governor's Advisory Council, through which Tinubu still controls Lagos, that the GSC has advised that, okay, that they were told Obasa that they will ask the Oloronti Adebule, the former deputy governor of Lagos State, to step down from the senatorial seats of Lagos West, and that he will go there, he will take over in 2027. Then that Miranda will step down for a neutral figure as speaker. That is somebody from Lagos West. As speaker, so that those are the permutations. Somebody
from Lagos West, still in this dispensation.
Yes, will take over as a speaker, a neutral person, because the House of Assembly now is divided.
But Obasa still remains a member.
He will remain a member, but he won't be investigated.
Till 2027?
Yes, but he won't be investigated. But he will be offered the ticket, the senatorial ticket, so that things can balance. But
even if his lifelong desire has always been to become the governor?
No, that of being the governor. That of being the governor, I think, is a shot in the dark. It may not be realized. Yes, it may not be realized given current realities.
Now, what are the permutations now? Because it's becoming very interesting. Lagos politics is actually so very interesting. If you take a look at the permutations now, what do you think would work? Especially, Sowolo is a Christian. You say this from which of the Central now?
Lagos Central.
The Lagos Central. Now, 2027, what do you think could be, what do you think people might see?
Well, 2027... Of course, the governorship seat, tentatively, is looking at Lagos West.
Lagos West?
Yes. And likely to be a Muslim. If you notice, Tinubu, all the time he has been coming to Lagos, he has been, identifying more with Lagos West.
Okay.
Although for years he has always been a Lagos West person, even though his wife went to the Senate on Lagos from Lagos Central, you know. So now there is this pressure group that is saying that Ambode, the former governor King Ambode, should be allowed to complete the second term for Lagos East.
Okay.
That Lagos East was unceremoniously denied of the second term. So there is that pressure that, okay, let Lagos West hold on. Let Lagos East, even though Ambode is a Christian, but it doesn't matter. Let Lagos East complete its second term. Then Lagos West can now take a full stretch. That is why you see now some people are bringing in the idea of Sheyi Tinubu, Tinubu's son, you know, from Lagos West. You know, but it is still early in the day to decide, because it's looking like, you know, that one may not really fly. That idea may not really fly, because APC as it stands is seriously divided, whether in Lagos or the national. APC right now is seriously divided. The permutation, what we are hearing is that Tinubu has instructed members of the House of Assembly to write an apology letter to himself and APC for impeaching Obasa without getting his express permission. Really? Those things are just, you know, speculations, you know. So of course they say they have apologized to the president and to the APC. But the idea, the other thing is that there are forces contending against Obasa, and Obasa is a grassroots man. He is fighting back. For one, he has refused to vacate the Speaker's Lodge on Joel Ogunaike Street in Ikeja, GRA. He has refused to vacate, you know, and he's really fighting because he believes the president is solely behind him. There was this circulation that the wife of the president stopped EFCC from arresting him. You know, you could see that the DSS arrested 2 members of the House of Assembly based on Obasan's petition. So he believes that the federal might is behind him. So that's why he's still.
And if the federal might is behind him and the GAC is neither here nor there,
the president can disband the GAC. After all, Obasa met with Sanwo-Olu some days ago, last weekend. They met, yes, preparatory to him coming back. So because all those allegations, he did this, he did that, he did this, all those ones are just things that politicians throw about routinely. You know, I mean, when I saw some of my colleagues, journalists, you know, taking sight in the matter, I just shook my head. You know, I saw what one wrote about Obasa. Obasa is this. I said, why? You journalists, you should be, you know, you should remove yourself from the fray. Look, politicians never quarrel. They may disagree, they may fight, but they are still one political family. They are still one political family. I told them, I said, do you know it's possible that Tinubu and Atiku or Tinubu and Peter Obi might work together for 2027? People shouted. I said, you want to try politicians? There's nothing impossible with politicians. Everybody wants to get the prize in sight. That is it. And they can build alliances. They can build alliances. That's you know, that's so clear. They can build you know, alliances. Nobody ever thought that Sanwo-Olu was going to be governor of Lagos. It was Obafemi Hamzat that everybody was looking to.
All right, Emeka, let's look at this other issue just before we leave for this morning. I never said Tinubu, Akume, Kalu were corrupt when I was EFCC chairman. That's coming from Ribado. Do you believe that? Especially knowing that he said so much. You know, sometimes when people are on the throne, they say so many things that they wouldn't expect would boomerang in the future. Do you believe what Ribado
I was a reporter
said?
then.
Beautiful.
And I watched Ribado. If maybe what I heard then was a different thing from what he's saying now, well, I don't know. Maybe we need to bring the tape from National Assembly. Because I know National Assembly has archives.
Yeah.
Let's bring the tape and play it. Because I know he said and was reported then to have said, I was with the Punch then, was reported to have said that Tinubu's case is of an international dimension. It was reported to have said that there was a governor who was actually taking money directly from the treasury. we know who that governor was.
But he didn't mention the name.
Do I remember whether I mentioned the name?
So which means he could be right when he said
the allusion was very clear. It was very vivid. Now it was the Northwest governor. It was the Northwest governor. So for him to be saying that he didn't say they were corrupt. But what happened thereafter? Why was Ojikalu arraigned for this thing? What about Kume?
Very sure.
What about Tinubu? Haven't they? Tinubu was taken to the Code of Conduct Tribunal. And there have been mention of cases against Tinubu. Mention of cases against Akume. Mention of cases against Ojikalu. By the way, Ojikalu was jailed now.
Yeah.
So why was he jailed? Well, sometimes I wonder how some of these are people in public office. What they think we are. So on what basis? If you didn't say anything, no problem. But what we know is that cases were raised against these people. And these cases, nothing, no effort has been made to continue with them. So whether you said Tinubu was corrupt or not, excuse me, we do know that issues alleging corruption against Tinubu have been there. Against all this have been there. Ojikalu went to prison. So what is he really talking about? What is it? The only thing, let him produce the tape. Let him ask the National Assembly to produce the tape. The full tape and play it. Let him make it available. The full tape. Because the National Assembly has an audiovisual unit that records everything. Let him play the tape.
And archives.
Or maybe even go to NTA. Let NTA provide the tape.
Very true. All right, Emeka, in 90 seconds, if you may, let's combine these two stories because they are both related. Federal government to take over incomplete Lagos-Ibadan Express section by April, and that's coming from Umahi. Then the second one is FD flags off tolling of federal highway. That's the Makurdi-Abuja. They've actually started doing
because the local Weto bridge, very nice bridge.
Okay, so it's because of that the tolling is there.
They have to get the money back.
Oh, okay.
You see that on Lagos by the expressway. They said by April, they've taken it now. Because how possible is it for Julius Berger to complete, Julius Berger and RCC to complete the work between, this is February now, between February and April, that just next door. It's not possible. What I believe they want to do, which was one of the ideas mooted in the beginning with by Courtney, Stabilini Vicinoni, was that they were to reconstruct Lagos by the expressway, build, operate, and transfer for 36 years. But politics came into the matter, and he was displaced. Jonathan came in and displaced Babalaki, because of certain considerations. And they now gave the job to motorways. I think the consultancy work also to motorways. Then, moving on from there, they now became a contract again to Julius Berger. Why? That is the problem. When Nigerian politicians they don't think their policy is true. They just come and just do things without considering the likely consequences.
Now, this Lagos-Ibadan Express road or road, whatever it is they have called it, is a perennial issue. It's been there for decades.
Do you know that they continued with the Bori route? That's why the road continued. You see, let them go back to the original plan.
Excuse me, is it that they are rerouting that road, or is it the same road has been there?
No, it's the same road.
60.
It's the same road.
So what's the problem? Is it
the problem is that there are bridges
to
be built, interchanges to be built. They have not been completed. Then certain areas were supposed to have laybys where vehicles could leave the road. You've seen accidents happening on the road.
Yes, very sure.
Why? Because of vehicles parking on the road. Look at like Ibafo. There's no lay-by. Even Magboro, that's supposed to have a lay-by. What has happened? Has anything been done? No, the vehicles are still on the road. So in other words, it has not been completed. The vehicles were supposed to actually leave the road. Then Ogun State government was actually also supposed to build a slip road. A slip road by the side where, buses were supposed to, go into offload passengers or, get passengers before joining the expressway again. But what you see is that everything begins and ends on the expressway, and which is not right. Then there was a time it was said that there was actually going to be no more turning on the expressway because of accidents. That's why they had those interchanges. Like the one at Lotto, supposed to connect to Ogijo, then to Ikorodu, this way. Then the other way was supposed to connect to Sion, Owode, Owode Ofada Mowe, Ibafo, Magboro, to Makogi, road. Was supposed to connect to that road. And then to Akute. There's the other one at the place where they call Julius Berger, at Berger Yard, when you're facing Shagamu, not completed. Then when you are going towards Ibadan, not completed. So what exactly are we doing with ourselves? So the whole road needs to be redesigned so that the original objectives will be achieved. And then the setback, you can see that the setback has been bastardized. The space for the slip road has been covered again by filling stations and a number of organizations. Why? They had been pushed back. They had been curtailed. What happened that they came back again to the expressway? All of these issues need to be addressed. And so the best way out would be a BOT, not tolling. Would be a BOT. So they give it to somebody that will manage that road, because that road is part of the Abidjan, is part of the road, I think, coming from Ouagadougou, down, going down, Trans-African Highway, I think heading to Cameroon and all of that. So, there's not supposed to be any impediment on the road. So you take it all the way, I think from Burkina Faso, or is it Abidjan, down to Lagos, down to Badagry Expressway, then from Mile 2 down this way, straight. There's not supposed to be any impediment on the way. You can see Mile 2 Osho, the expressway, even to Anthony. You can see how wide it is.
Wide it is, yes.
But look at this one, Lagos Ibadan. That one is within Lagos, so see how wide it is. Look at Lagos Ibadan, connecting states. Look at how narrow it is.
Very sure.
The slip roads that are supposed to be there are not there. So what do we have? A total distortion of the original plan. They have to go back to the original plan.
And let's just say that the original plan actually was done, I would love to be corrected, by the military, isn't it?
No, this one I talked about wasn't done by the military.
Sadly, done
by Babangida.
The original plan?
Yeah, the original plan was done by Obasanjo.
In 1979?
Yes,
okay.
As head of state, 1978, I think.
Okay.
But Babangida came in and did the third axial, bridge, which was the third mainland bridge. Did it all the way Oronshoki, right from Mile 2 Oronshoki, this way, to third mainland and all of that. He didn't look at this way. It was supposed to have gone wide, but Ambode, when he came in as governor, he did this side, Adedeji Road, which is from Yanoworo, from Olokomeji bus stop, down to Yanofako. Then Sanwo-Olu now continued and fixed under the bridge. I think Ambode fixed under that under that Ogodo bridge. And then Sanwo-Olu now came and extended it into Ifako. But he didn't do the other side, Bode Joseph Street. He didn't fix the other side. That's Ambode. But I think Sanwo-Olu is trying to fix the other side, Bode Joseph. So now, if Babangida had turned this way as well, with the way he did with that Oronshoki, Osho, the Mile 2 Expressway, Apapa Oronshoki, Oronshoki, Apapa Expressway. If he had gone left and done the same thing, today we won't have this problem.
Very true. Very, very true. We hope that this would be done because the most important thing is as they do whatever it is that they desire to do, it still boils down on serving the people, which of course is the duty and responsibility of every sane government. That's just about the time we have for this morning segment of Enterprise, and right after that we'll be on to our main conversation. And just to let you know, Emeka would be here to take us on that particular matter. So when we return, Minister investigates suspected criminal activities at Delta State Correctional Center. That in a bit. Please don't go anywhere.